Your Princess is Problematic.
Here at YPIP, we dive deep into the movies we enjoyed in our childhoods.
That we're being forced to watch again through the eyes of our childses.
Or that my best friend's childses make me watch.
And we watch these with nostalgia goggles on.
And then we dissect them and rip them to shreds.
With our adult brains for your adult entertainment.
That's Jess.
That's Nikki.
And I'm Thomas.
And this week, we are talking about the movie Wally.
This is going to be the whole episode.
And this is
this is just us. We don't have any notes, so we're just going to do impressions.
We're just going to keep doing this the whole time. The whole time.
An hour and a half of this.
Yes.
And welcome to the podcast, everybody. And your worst nightmare.
And your worst nightmare. Yeah, so we should probably just really quickly mention again that we are still practicing social distancing. Jessica is still far, far, far away from us. And
yes.
Yeah.
Socially distanced.
For those of you listening in the future, when COVID-19 is no longer an issue and we're back living free lives.
We don't normally sound like this.
Yeah, we don't. Sorry. Yeah, we don't usually sound like this. We're recording in the bad times.
In the dark.
Was the worst of times, was the best of times. I don't know how that quote goes, but it's fine.
That's super close. Yep. So, yes. Anyway, so back to Wally.
Yeah.
2008. Yeah. Jessica, what was your experience with Wally? How do you remember? 2008?
Not that long ago.
Very vaguely remember. I didn't see it when it came out in theaters.
Mm-hmm.
I believe the first time I saw this was when I was living with Cheryl, because she and her boyfriend were very up to date and in love with Pixar movies.
Okay.
And I hadn't really jumped onto that whole bandwagon yet, so I'm pretty sure that was the first time, was when I was living with them.
Yeah.
So it probably was, oh my god, I don't even remember what year we were living together. It was probably like 2 years after it came out.
That's funny that you mentioned the Pixar thing, because I didn't really think about Pixar and Disney being a separate thing. Mm-hmm. Like, I never really considered it two separate things for a long time. I was like, oh yeah, some of the Disney movies are in like funky computer and some of them are still hand-drawn. Like, I just didn't really think of them as like two separate studios. It just never really occurred to me that they were separated situations. Is that weird? Even now, I still kind of consider it like one cohesive thing.
Well, it is now,
right?
It?
Well, yeah, but even on like the Disney Plus app, it's separated on there. And I'm like, oh, that's weird. I have to like look for Brave under Pixar. It's not. Right. She's not under the princesses, which is weird.
She's not?
I don't think so. I think
no, she's under Pixar.
Yeah.
Interesting.
She's in the other studios.
So it's like Coco and yeah.
So you saw it like 2 years later, and you thought blank.
I loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah. At the time, I don't think I had seen a ton of Pixar movies to compare it to.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know the one that they were super desperate to show me was Up, because that was their favorite.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure that was the first one I watched. But Wally was pretty up there as far as like a favorite animated movie after I saw it.
Up was the one that came out after this one, because there's like an Easter egg for Up in this movie. There was something I saw. I didn't look up all the Easter egg stuff because I know you hate the Easter egg stuff, so I didn't.
I don't hate it. I just don't like.
I didn't. Well, I saw some of it and I was like, I'm not going to bring up the Easter egg stuff because I know Jess doesn't care about the Easter egg stuff. But apparently Carl is in his truck or something like that, and Wally gets like hit by his cane or something. And I guess it was, I don't know. I read it and I was like, really? And I don't remember seeing it. And I don't
remember anything even remotely like that.
I don't either.
It's apparently right before he pulls the little screen out to play Hello Dolly off his iPod thing.
Oh.
I don't know, I'll have to look for it again, but I read it and I was like, really? So, I don't know.
Interesting.
Anyway, so you loved it.
I loved it.
And had you
That's
seen...
pretty much the extent of my memory of it.
Yeah. Had you seen it like many a time, or was it just a one-time movie for you?
Yeah, I've seen it a handful of times.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's one of those where, if it was back when I had cable and like HBO and those kind of movie channels, if it was on, I'd watch it.
Thomas?
Yes?
How are you with Wally? How do you Wally?
I Wally good.
Yeah? Tell me about you and Wally.
Thomas Wally's real good.
The first time I saw Wally was with my dad's super conservative friend at his house. We used to hang out. So I first watched it there. And I super liked it. It's really good. I thought that was really good. It never really occurred to me until after watching it a few times that there's like no dialogue in the movie.
Yeah, there is no dialogue until the second half.
Mm-hmm.
And even when there is quote unquote dialogue, it's very, very light.
Minimal, yeah.
But I like it a lot. I like the animation's really good. I like the characters. I like Wally. I like Eve. I like the concept is pretty cool. I like that it's kind of like a sort of a sneaky climate change activism kind of a thing. Like if you're not into that whole thing, you can probably just ignore it and be fine.
Yeah.
I am sort of into that, so I like it. I've seen it a bunch of times.
If you're not into scientific facts, you can still enjoy it.
Yeah, everybody, you guys all know me. I don't like science stuff all that much, so...
We're trying to slowly slink Evie into being environmentally friendly when we're going on our walks right now. We're pointing out garbage to her.
Oh, yeah. Talking to her about pollution.
Yeah.
Littering.
Oh,
She notices all the garbage. She's like, why is there trash there? Why is there trash there? And we're like, because some people don't care about our planet, Evelyn. And I'm like, if you want to one day, Evie, I'm like, you and I can come out here and put some gloves on and we can clean up trash if you want to. She's like, okay. And I'm like, let's do it. I'm like, I have no problem doing that with you one day. She's like, cool. Okay. I'm like, my baby girl. She's going to care about our planet. Yeah.
That's sweet.
Right?
Yucky.
Me. So,
how are you, Wally?
As you all know, I saw this in the theater.
Oh.
As I see all the movies in the theater. I don't remember why I saw this in the theater or anything, or who I saw it with, or any of those circumstances. I liked this movie the minute I saw it. I liked all of it. I have this really weird relationship when it comes to robots and cyborg stuff in the first place. I'm low-key afraid of robots in the first place. I have like a really weird fear of robots, and it's funny because of
right.
Your branding.
My branding in general is robots.
You're like Batman.
I know. But it's actually Botman. And it's actually a funnier. I can go deeper into that for you. My dad, when he used to work at Chuck E. Cheese and I was little, I specifically remember coming in one day during the day before Chuck E. Cheese opened. It was like in the morning or something. And my dad was fixing one of the... So do you remember when Chuck E. Cheese used to actually have the robots on the stage? Like you'd have like Mitzi Mouse and Chuck E. Cheese and Billy Bob and... Yeah. Or I'm mixing up Showbiz Pizza Place and Chuck E. Cheese because they used to be a different thing, but... Whatever.
Yeah. Totally, yeah.
I know you don't know, but it used to be Showbiz Pizza Place, and then it became Chuck E. Cheese. And so the characters used to be called different people. But anyway, so I remember coming in the morning, and my dad was fixing one of the robots. Therefore, he had the mask taken off of one of the robots, and I saw the mechanism of it. And I remember coming in and seeing it and screaming because it scared the living crap out of me.
Yeah, it's freaky.
And so that was my first time ever seeing one in real life. And so that's my Batman origin story. So robots actually scare me. And so like in movies and stuff, when like robots take over, like the movie I, Robot and stuff like that, like movies like that scare the crap out of me because I'm just like, that could happen. Like, that could actually happen. And why is this not scary to people? Robots low-key scare me, okay? Because one day the robots are going to take over, you guys. Anyway, but with that being said...
Despite your fear.
Despite my fear, I think robots are adorable. And I think Wally is the cutest little thing in the world. And then I think that he's really adorable. And he reminds me of Short Circuit. Do you remember that robot movie from the 80s?
Yeah.
I bet.
I don't believe I've ever
Johnny
seen
Five.
that.
Johnny 5, yeah. Eve being like a cute, like sleek little iPhone robot is also like, it's just cute to see all the different kinds of robots. I just think robots are cute in general. Like, I like seeing different versions of robots. I don't know. As much as they scare me, I find them all very adorable. It's just weird. I don't know what to explain this weird fear I have. Is that all? I don't know what else to say about it. I just went into a whole thing about robots. I'm going to cut all of this, maybe.
No, don't cut all of it.
But in general, I like the movie. I like that there's no dialogue. I like that it's just like kind of a movie that you can just watch and listen to and just kind of observe. I like the, hey guys, stop polluting the planet because look at what can happen. Like, I like that about it. You guys, if you were just hearing that hand slap, that was Thomas high-fiving me about not polluting the planet. I guess.
It definitely does. It definitely wasn't because Nikki was hand talking and left her hand out for me to slap.
What'd you say, Jess?
I just thought he high-fived you because your hand was there.
It was.
Yep, that's exactly why.
That's exactly why.
You don't leave a bro hanging.
Right.
I admire that about Thomas.
Jesus Christ. Oh, jeez. Anyway, so yeah, I liked it a lot. I've liked it every time. I've tried to get Evie to watch it a few times. This movie hasn't kept her attention from beginning to end before, I don't think. She's always interested in the beginning of this movie, and she thinks Wally's cute, and she likes Eve, and I've tried to point out to her that her name is the same name as the robots, and she thinks that that's cute. Dina and I used to joke that if either one of us had a boy after having Eves, that we would name him Walter. So we could have a Wally and an Eve, because we both knew we were having Eves.
And you'd also have a Walt Disney reference.
Right.
Boom.
Well, that is one of my facts, in fact, that Wally is a reference to Walter Elias Disney.
That's, cute.
Yeah. One of my fun facts.
Interesting.
Cross that one right off.
Checkmate.
Right. All right. Let's hop in.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Starting off with Out There.
Where's that song from, Nikki?
First time I saw this movie, I recognized the song. I've never seen Hello Dolly before.
Okay.
And I know it's like one of like the big oldie ones that
I don't know how big it is.
No?
But it's one of my favorite movie musicals.
Yeah.
I saw it when I was a kid and became obsessed with it. And Barbra Streisand is fabulous in it.
Is it Barbra Streisand?
It is Barbra Streisand.
So it's not like it's not like Music Man. It's not like one of the older shows. It's just one of the ones?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, by big I thought you meant popular, and I don't know how popular it was.
Okay. I guess the reason that they picked it is because the two directors just heard the song one day and thought about how simplistic, like, the plot of Hello Dolly is about, like, how the two guys are just like, yeah, they just want to go out for a night in the town and kiss a girl, and that's all they want to do. And they're like, that just gives the simple plot of showing that Wally that's all he wants to do, and he just wants to kiss a girl, and he just wants to hold the hand of somebody, and he's capable of love and something like that, and it's just that simple of a plot, and that's all that this movie is. And like, it's just that easy. And the fact that they're out in space, out there, and they're like, it just fit perfectly. And like, I guess that's just really literally how, and
plus it's a bop.
Right.
It's just such a happy little song.
It was a really cute opening. And when I saw this in the theater, I was like, I knew the song, like I recognized the song right away. I was like, oh, I know the song, but I had no idea what I knew it from. So like, I must have just heard it in passing throughout being around musical theater people my whole life or something. I don't know.
Probably, yeah.
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 Yes.
Most people, if I play this song or like hum that song, most people are like, oh, the song from Wall-E.
Yeah.
Like, no.
Well, I know that it just went back because Julie was trying to convince me when she was like, let's go to New York soon. You know, when Julie gets in her whole, like, we need to go to New York City and let's go and stay with my friend, whoever lives in New York City. Let's take the Greyhound and let's go. Because Bette Midler revived whatever role in Hello Dolly, and she was too.
Dolly.
Yeah, and I was like, yeah, I'll go. Like, I'll go see Bette Midler. Like, I don't even know the show, but I'll go see Bette Midler do anything.
Right.
So, I don't think they're doing that right now, so never mind.
Also, Hello Dolly is what my dog is named after.
Oh, really?
Dolly.
Oh, Dolly. Oh, Dolly.
Yeah. Much like most of the musicals from that era, it slows down in places. In the
I'm
second
sure
half,
it does.
But actually, not as bad as most like like Rodgers and Hammerstein musicals where just like where you might as well be at a funeral in the second act. It's not that bad. Still watchable.
I try to explain musicals to Thomas sometimes when we listen to, right now Evie's on this big kick of The Descendants. We've not had the pleasure of really watching the movies with her as much as she's made us listen to the music a lot. Oh, okay. And when we go on these walks with her in the evening to get out of the house via quarantine, we've heard a lot of the music, and there are some songs that are just god awful. And there's a couple of them. There's like one that plays particular that I'm like, oh, this is the one. And Thomas is like, what? I'm like, this is the Stuck on Stage song. And he goes, what's that? And I'm like, the song I told you about that's like usually like you're in the chorus and it's like just two people are singing in the song and you're stuck on stage in the chorus and you have to be like background acting and you're like in the chorus and you're like, I hate this song and I'm stuck on stage for this whole stupid song and I have to be acting like I'm interested in whatever happening in the background while these actors sing like this 20-minute song and I hate this song. And I'm like listening to the song, I'm like, this is that song in the movie. I bet if we watch the movie there's a ton of crap happening in the background and everybody in the background's like, I hate this song and it probably took 4 days to film. Anyway. Right. So I imagine Hello Dolly's got at least one of those songs. No?
I don't know.
No. Thomas is...
Yeah, I guess there is one that's like that, yeah.
Yeah. Thomas, have you enjoyed the first 10 minutes of this discussion about Wall-E?
It's been a riveting conversation for me, that's for sure.
All right, fine. We'll move past the Hello Dolly thing.
So I have a question for you about the whole, first act of this film in general.
Go.
So as you mentioned already, there's no dialogue in the whole first half of the movie.
Right.
And it's not the only Pixar movie that's done things like that. Up was also, there was that whole section in the beginning that was
you mean the silence from my tears? That section of the movie?
Yeah. That wasn't an entire act of the movie though.
No, it wasn't. Yeah. No, it wasn't an entire act of the movie. That's true. I don't know. I guess I got the feeling from this that that they started with an idea for a short, and then they tried to extend it into a full length.
This was, I want to say I did see something like that online.
Because part of me was I almost wish that the whole thing was, dialogue free, but then also would I be able to handle a whole movie being this way?
With no dialogue. Yeah. Yeah, it's I could definitely, with it just being the first act, I'm totally cool with it. And it works.
Yeah, it really
great.
Works.
And the movie as a whole, like I said, has very little dialogue in it.
Right.
I'm re-googling that.
But I don't know if an entire 90-minute movie would have worked with no dialogue.
Yeah, I think they probably did the right thing with the very minimal writing in the second half.
Yeah.
So while Nikki Googles that, I will say that the way Wall-E sorts through the trash, where he looks at every single item and kind of fiddles with it and then decides whether he's going to throw it or keep it.
Yeah.
That's how I clean my house. And that's why cleaning my house takes weeks on end, and it's a never-ending job.
Nice.
It was not. That is not. It was not a short.
It was not.
It was not a short. I know what I.
It did not hit her.
No, I found the fact that I found, however, that maybe thought that I saw that fact, though. And that will come up in a minute. Go back to your thing, though, that you were saying about cleaning your house.
Oh, no, that was it. That's that's how I clean.
Yeah.
My mom hates it. She's like, will you please stop playing with everything you pick up? I'll find a notebook and I have to read every page.
Yeah. When they're cleaning up, or when he is doing his day and finishes the day at work, and we see Earth and we see the trash and everything like that. The trashy world is based on ruins of Chernobyl.
Oh, okay.
Which is in the Ukraine, and I knew that.
Yes.
And also based on Sofia, Bulgaria, because they have problems with storing their garbage.
Huh. Okay.
So they base it on those two places.
Interesting.
Yes. I meant to say that at the beginning. You see some street signs, too. I tried to Google around online to see where they are, like if they're in New York City or something like that, but everybody says that it's like whatever the Pixar made-up places, that all the Pixar places are, because you see like the Pizza Planet truck and stuff like that, so it's like where Cars is and all that crap, so it's supposedly not a real place, it's just...
Supposedly.
Something.
Yeah.
They would say that.
Right.
A fictional Earth.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Oh, I also meant to say at the very beginning that it was nominated for 6 Academy Awards, by the way.
Nice.
Which is tied with Beauty and the Beast, 1991. Not the live action bullshit.
The good one.
The good one.
Yeah.
Not the shitty one.
Yeah. There wasn't any doubt in my mind. You didn't even need to specify.
Just checking on that one. Just make sure you guys knew. And I think that it won one of them. It won like Best Picture. And it beat out Kung Fu Panda and another movie that year.
Boy.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I like Kung Fu Panda. I like Kung Fu Panda.
Yeah, so I didn't see Kung Fu Panda until Thomas and Evie watched it together, like a year and a half ago or so?
Yeah.
When it was on Netflix, and like I just kind of caught little bits and pieces of it when I'd come in the living room and he was watching it, and it made me laugh out loud a ton of times. I'm like, this is funny.
Yeah. It's not as good as WALL-E, but it's still pretty good.
But it's actually really funny. And I was like, okay. And I was like, I had no interest in seeing it, but I've watched it all the way through like once or twice now. And I'm like, okay, this is actually, I wasn't willing to give it a chance, but it's actually a lot funnier than I thought it was going to be. Then when we see like the By and Large commercial and we see the humans for the first time. I remember when I saw this in the movie theater being like, whoa. They're real people, like being like really thrown off that they use like humans in this movie. And this was the first time. This was when you said the short fact, this was the fact that I thought was that fact. This was the first time that Pixar's full feature used real live action actors ever.
It kind of reminds me a little bit of the 90s video games that had like live action cutscenes like put into them. A little bit like that. Not like jarring and stupid like that, but it kind of gave me that vibe watching it. So, yeah.
I thought that this was a really good way of presenting the backstory that you needed to know.
Yeah, I found on the internets the full backstory too. Like I did around some Googling that gives more explanation of what happened to the humans and what happened to Earth and like why it went awry as well. It doesn't give me...
I don't know how much more you need, so, but I am, I'm intrigued.
I was like, I read it, I was like, okay. But basically, the humans were sent to live on the Axion for 5 years, and the robots were supposed to compact the trash. And then in phase 2, they were supposed to burn the trash. However, there was too much trash. And then the rest of the robots shut down, except for Wall-E. But he became sentient and, like, self-fixing. And then because he became unchecked, he just figured out how to just fix himself and just continued to work for 700 years all by himself. And that's... Right? And I was like, oh, poor baby. It's kind of what I read. But yeah, I like that. I like that we got the explanation at the beginning of the movie because I think it would have driven me crazy if we didn't know throughout the movie, like, what happened. Like, what happened here,
Right.
And,
yeah. I thought the way they presented it was perfect. It was simple. Straight to the point.
Right.
Got across what you needed to know and then move on.
Right.
I wanted to talk about his AV setup.
Talk about what a nerd Wall-E is?
I just wanted to talk about the feat of engineering it is that he got VCR to play on an iPod. Yeah. Because you younglings out there that have never had the pleasure of using a VCR, there's a whole production to get it hooked up to your TV.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Because you had to get like their red cable and the white cable and the yellow cable. You had to hook them up just right. And you had to make sure that the TV you're hooking it up to had the same things. But Wall-E, apparently, I assume that Wall-E was not programmed with VCR knowledge.
No. Probably not. Yeah.
So he just figured out how to get an iPod to play movies from a VCR on it. So I was like, that's pretty ingenuitive. I don't know if that's not a word, but...
Yeah. What else was he gonna do for 700 years by himself, right?
I mean, but like, he had an Atari and figured out how to work an Atari, too. And it looks like they didn't leave Earth until 21 something, right? What was the first year on that first captain?
Yeah, it was like 21...
58 or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know.
I enjoy when he wakes up in the morning and how like groggy he is, and he
drunk Wally,
like trying to like put his shoes on, and like, I'm like, yes,
very relatable.
Yeah,
yes.
We meet the cockroach friend.
Yeah.
To get the cockroachy sounds, they used handcuffs, clickies. They clicked handcuffs to make his sounds.
Huh.
Interesting.
I
love Foley work. That's so interesting.
To get the sound of wind, they took a plastic bag and dragged it along carpet. I know, it's just so mind-blowing, and you're like, sound.
It's so intriguing. Yeah, Foley work is just fascinating to me.
Oh, and when he's in his little pod, also, you see what Wally stands for. I don't know if you notice. It's
I didn't notice.
Waste allocation load lifter, earth class. Mm-hmm. When he's in the Axiom later and the big ones are crushing him, they're Wall A's, and that's waste allocation load lifter Axiom class.
I thought they were Wall R's.
Wall A's.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Although, if you want to be super specific, it's Wallas, like ats.
Wow.
Yeah, it's just like ats.
Wow.
They also...
I will fight you.
Since we're on Earth and we're seeing all these super fancy schmancy shots of Earth also, they wanted a really filmic look, and they use Panavision like they did in Star Wars in 1977, and they used a lot of Star Wars shots as their... Inspiration. Words. Yes, for this movie.
We're all very tired.
And yes.
We need a break from pandemic.
Fight or flight is happening, and I'm not going to lie to you guys, flight is happening. I just want to sleep all the time. All right. So, Eve, what are your first impressions of Eve when she lands?
Okay. She seems very destructive.
Right?
And, I mean, she also seems very, like, I think it's cute that she kind of waits until the boss bot is gone, and then she kind of has a little bit of fun with it. And then, you know, once she realizes that she's being watched, she tries to get back down to business again. But yeah, considering that her directive is to find signs of life, being programmed to shoot as soon as she sees movement.
Yeah.
Yes.
She just seemed very trigger happy.
That is what I think too. I'm like, why is she so hostile when she sees something move and she shoots
What if she came across the plant and it like blew in the fucking breeze?
Right?
Yeah.
Or what if she came across a human? Like, what if there happened to be a human and she killed one?
Right.
But then so when she meets Wally, and she asks, "Who are you?" Why wouldn't she know what Wally is? Also, like, wouldn't she know that the things that were left on the planet to dispose of the trash was a him? Like, wouldn't she know?
I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe the robots designed for the Axiom never.
Yeah, I guess it is 700 years later.
Bots. Yeah.
It is the 700th. It is the 700th anniversary of their 5-year cruise.
Septicentennial, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I wonder if her being so destructive, because she's destructive in the sense that she attacks pretty much anything, but also that she just doesn't seem aware of her own like impact on the things around, like, you know, when she's bouncing around Wally's house and wrecking shit. She just doesn't seem aware of how, heavy-handed she's being.
True.
And I wonder if that's kind of trying to show that she's still very much, like, in a robot mindset.
Yeah.
Rather than Wally's, like, more sentient human mindset, just to kind of
That's a good point. That's a good point. That's a good point.
That's probably exactly what it is.
But still, shooting at things seems very...
Yeah.
Right.
Like, I get it. I get what's
still very trigger happy.
Right.
Yeah, totally counterproductive to her directive.
So then she asks the directive. She asks him in 3 languages before she says it in English. Would you like to guess the 3 languages she asks him in before she gives him English? You have any ideas at all? Any of them are?
Weisung, Mere, Ayinwanka, Directive.
I'm guessing one of them is probably Mandarin.
Close, actually, but no.
No?
Cantonese?
No. I mean, close in the sense of an Asian language.
Thai?
Japanese?
Japanese.
Yeah.
One is Japanese.
Spanish, I'm guessing?
No.
Oh, really?
No. One is... This is not going to be good for Nikki. One is European? Maybe? Oh, no.
Nope. Nice try, but no.
No, one is a European language.
Okay.
I think.
Okay.
Italian?
Norwegian?
No and no.
Swedish?
Not Swedish, but I think we're getting closer in the region.
Yeah?
Maybe.
Dutch?
You're going off of Nikki. You're going off of Nikki geography,
I know,
so
this
maybe
could be anywhere. Nikki's geography. This could be. Is it Greek? 'Cause
No, it's not Greek. No, it's not Greek. It's not Greek.
Is it?
It's a language that starts with Greek.
What? What? Macedonian? What?
What?
You were closer to Sweden.
Gaelic?
No, it also starts with Gaelic. And
What?
it also starts with Greek.
What?
Geographically closer to Sweden.
I don't understand
What
what
does
you're...
Greek and Gaelic have in common? They both start with the letter.
G?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so it doesn't start in Greek.
No. Don't you like my game at all?
German.
Yes, German. Okay, and
Wow.
one more language.
Oh my God.
You weren't sure that Germany was in Europe?
I got nervous when I was making such a.
I was like Greco-Roman.
I got nervous about making such a bold statement. Okay, and the third language.
Russian?
Nope, we're not in that continent anymore.
Huh?
Oh, okay.
Swahili.
Yes.
Oh, all right.
I'm glad I didn't have to. I knew that was Africa. I knew it was Africa, but I was going to start doing like Lion King references is what I was going to start to do. I was going to go, no, I don't know what hints to give you and see if you guys would have guessed it just from that.
Oh, boy.
Wow. That was unnecessarily difficult.
You liked the game and you know it.
I did enjoy it.
This starts with Greek and Gaelic.
I'm not cutting any of that. Anyway. So when Wally gives Eve the plant and Eve shuts down,
Yes.
I do not enjoy Wally creepily pulling Eve around on their date because I think it goes from kind of cute to way into creepy zone really quickly.
Yeah. I mean, I get it, but also he's been alone for 7 years.
I feel like we're in like bad touch zone. He's like pulling her arm out from her body, and it's like the only part of her. It's like he's like reaching up inside of her, and like the one part. Like I feel like it's bad touch, Wally.
Yeah, I get it. I think I will say that it's kind of a running theme with him that he doesn't know how to like
boundaries.
Yeah, like he doesn't understand. And I mean that's fair. He's somehow taught himself to be sentient. Like
right.
How is he going to teach himself like social etiquette and boundaries and stuff like that? But because every time, even when she's conscious, every time that he is having that moment where he's like, I'm going to hold her hand. It's definitely a moment where I'm like, read the room, buddy. Like, not a great time. Maybe not right now. And so eventually by the end of the movie, you know, he kind of gets his shit together, thankfully.
He literally has one frame of reference, and that is one VHS movie, and that is it, and it is a musical.
Right. And I think it's kind of like partway through the movie, through most of the movie, his one directive is actually like trying to be close to Eva and like hold her hand and stuff. That's his main focus, is being close to Eve.
Right.
And then around the time that he gets shot, basically, and he starts to actually kind of put some thought into the bigger picture and like actually helping the ship and the planet, not just, because of her.
Right.
He seems to kind of let go and relax a little bit as far as being desperate to touch her.
Right.
Yeah.
So I will say that he grows.
Right.
He has an arc.
Thought.
Huh?
He has a character arc.
Exactly.
He does. Yes.
And she becomes more emotional, so it's great.
I want to know after she shuts down, why is he standing on top of the pod with her with an umbrella while it's raining? Why doesn't he just bring her inside?
Yeah.
I assumed that he was thinking that maybe she was solar charged.
Yeah, but the sun wasn't out. It was a thunderstorm.
Look, I'm trying to throw him a bone here, but it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Wally's kind of an idiot, guys.
Yeah.
He really is a dummy.
Especially when it comes to females. Wally is kind of dumb.
Dumb.
Yeah.
Yikes.
All right.
I'm ready to take off.
Let's take off.
All right. So off we go.
Yeah.
So when he's taking off, I will say one of my favorite callback moments is him telling the cockroach to stay. Yeah. And then when they land at the end of the movie, the cockroach is sitting in the same spot.
Oh, I know, right?
Isn't that so cute? The cockroach is such a good boy.
Such a good boy.
He is a good boy.
He's best boy.
Traveling really, really far. I don't remember the Axiom being so far away when watching this before.
I have a fun space fact for us real quick if you want.
Go ahead.
Space fact!
The Apollo 11 landing site on the moon that we passed, that is now a museum attraction or something, or a development property.
The outlet mall.
So the American flag that they planted has been bleached white by the sun, so it no longer looks like an American flag.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh.
So they either decided to disregard that they had disregarded a lot of science stuff in this movie. They disregarded that, or they have somebody go out there and replace the flag every once in a while. So
that was something I was going to bring up about facts. I went past all my facts already. In my fact searching, holy science facts, Batman.
Yeah.
Nerds out there about this movie. I could have gone balls deep in this movie about facts, but I feel like Thomas should have hosted this episode because holy smokes, there were so many science shit. People just being like, oh, I'd like to argue about the axiom and the weight and how much everybody weighs now and blah, 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 bone density of all the people and blah, 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 blah. And then there were
I could talk about that. Yep.
And then there were people going about an axiom and the reference to Space Odyssey and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. I was like, oh my God. And then people are going on about, and the actual solar system that the axiom was in is this and that and this and that. Let's not go over about where Wally would have actually exploded when he went past the sun just then and blah, 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 blah. When he touches Jupiter, he would have lost his arm just then, blah, 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 blah. It was just yeah, and
he probably would have melted when they went past the sun that closely.
There were so many things that I had such a hard time picking what facts I wanted to talk about that I was just I just want to read about the cute little robots that were on the Axiom and the little spa centers on the Axiom. I don't care about these things. There was one article that this guy was talking about fusion and fission and science fusion and
I do think it's
fusion
weird.
And Asian fusion.
I don't even know.
I did think it was weird that a technological race that was capable of space travel and fusion technology still couldn't figure out how to get the planet back into shape. So
It was,
I thought that was weird.
There was a whole thing about how everybody on the Axiom was white and how everybody was speaking English and how small the population was and just
so
how...
I actually have, because I kind of figured that one out on my own, because at the beginning, I couldn't remember if they had addressed at all the basis for what the ship is and, like, who it carries and how many people, like, when we first started and we were just, like, looking at Earth covered in trash, I just kind of had that thought, like, there's no way that ship had the entire population of Earth. So
Right.
Is it just the people who can pay? Like, is this just the descendants of the richest people? There's a moment where Fred Willard's character is, like, I think it's in regards to the plant, like, one of the announcements he has, yada, 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 on the ship Axiom. And the word Axiom is, like, a robotic voice. Like,
Like,
he said your ship and then left it blank.
Mm-hmm.
For something to fill in the ship's name. And then there was another moment, I can't remember exactly what he said, but he implied that there were multiple ships.
Oh, so maybe
there's
a
also,
ship
during
for...
the commercial at the beginning, they say that there are multiple ships.
Oh.
And the Axiom is just the biggest one.
Oh, so maybe there's a ship for, like, each country or every continent or something like that. Okay, that makes more sense. Okay.
Yeah.
I guess, okay. Okay. We'll move past that part. But my point was...
on the one hand, hopefully the Axiom has a way of contacting the other ships.
Right.
Once they're back on Earth. But if not, I mean, I guess their Eve bots will eventually find the plants that they're growing and will have to deal with their own mutiny and
right.
such.
I don't know, but I'm telling you that I didn't get to Reddit. I was thinking about looking at Reddit too, but...
Oh, thank God, dude. Yeah.
I thought that just Google's black hole was super... I was deep into Google this afternoon and this evening when I was waiting for Thomas to get back from working out, and I was like, oh my God, nerds all over the planet about this movie. I just had no idea that Wall-E had such, like, a nerdum following. I feel like this movie we hid it underneath the rug because we talked about trashing the planet, like what they, like
kind of political ideas.
Yeah, I think that because this is what this movie secretly talked about, they kind of were like, oh, we don't really talk about Wall-E because of what Disney kind of talked about in Wall-E. Well, it's a cute movie about robots and love. Isn't that cute? That's all we talk about. So I don't feel like Wall-E gets a lot of attention because we don't want to, like, talk about the other issues. So I just have never really read much about it before, but I had no idea until today how nerdy it goes.
Do you have any other nerdy facts since we're on?
I have a couple things that I noticed while watching.
Yeah.
Science, like nerd science wise.
Are you going to bring up as we go, or you want to bring up now?
I have them in my notes. I can do them as we go, or I can just dump them on you right now. I have one about microgravity, since we mentioned that. After they get the plant, they talk about how your bone density will have been reduced. There's clearly gravity, like standard artificial gravity on this ship.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
So that's completely moot. Like, there is no microgravity. Microgravity is what we experience now when you go up into the space station and stuff and when you're floating everywhere. That's microgravity. They clearly have some form of artificial gravity on the ship, so the microgravity is not a thing for them. So they are still experiencing at least partial Earth gravity. So their bone density thing it's not a thing. It wouldn't be a thing. And there's also a part at the end of the movie where all of them are in the room with the scanner, and the ship rolls and they all slide because of the ship's microgravity. The way the ship is relative to everything else doesn't matter. So rolling the ship wouldn't do anything because all motion in space is relative. So there's no point of gravity for them to be rolling towards, and the gravity is attached to the bottom of the ship. So wherever the bottom of the ship is where people will be moved towards.
So even if the ship were upside down, they'd still be. It would be standing on the floor.
They would not notice a difference.
So here's Thomas ruining it with science, everybody.
They were applying.
Thomas is Reddit now.
They were applying a lot of like Earth, like nautical Earth type physics to the physics of the spaceship and not actual space physics.
Yeah.
Interesting. Thank you, Thomas.
You're welcome.
Space Facts with Thomas, which we get to do with pew 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 instead of meow meow pew, pew. We get to do pew, pew, pews instead because
I like it.
Space.
I like it. So I feel like they ignored some of that because I don't know if you know this.
Tell me.
But in the beginning half of this movie in particular, like when Wally's doing his thing and then he's trying to impress Eve and stuff like that, there's a lot of physical humor gags, like kind of like slapstick physical stuff.
Uh-huh.
And so I wonder if that's why they ignored some of those sciencey things, is just
Maybe.
to get another gag in. I don't know.
Huh, good point.
I guess they had to have some conflict for the robots to deal with when trying to get the plant to the thing.
I mean,
So
I
guess I see why the spinning the ship would
make all the fat people fall and maybe squish the plant, maybe.
Oh,
Yeah, but
that would have been hilarious.
They have...
What a good physical gag.
Because they have artificial gravity on the ship, they could have just manipulated the artificial gravity on the ship and like turned it off and made everybody float or something like that.
That would have been actually funnier watching a bunch of fat people float.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have laughed. Right? I'm laughing thinking about it. So anyway, because like the thing that made me laugh the
Beauregard moment going. Oh,
right.
yeah.
The thing that made me laugh the hardest at the end of the movie when everybody came out, when they all had their little things on their heads, the little masks, is the girl that had the fucking cup stuck up inside of hers.
Yeah.
That fucking made me laugh so hard. Anyway,
I did enjoy that one as well.
we go to space and we get on the spaceship.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Or do you have anything about traveling through space besides him not melting on the sun and
I don't care about that.
being in a I like seeing him travel through the space and like him being like, "Look, Eve," and I think that it's really cute and just seems like really gentle and just I think the scene itself is really nice and I like him putting his hand up and like seeing it swirl. Like I like all the space.
I think what he's doing is
really
touching the rings of Saturn.
Yeah,
I think is what he's doing.
Yeah. I think it's cute. I was really
do it.
I was really confused about it when I watched it because I was like, okay, so we're leaving Earth, we're passing the sun, but now we're at Saturn, and like I was just confused in what order we were going in to like.
Do you need help with that or
no? I was just confused why we were passing the sun to get to Saturn because in my head, why wouldn't we just go that way? But I realized that the Earth isn't always in order. And that it just depends on where we are in our rotation, okay?
Orbits.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yep.
I know.
Yep.
It doesn't always look.
Sight.
It doesn't always look like the chart where they're all just in line with each other.
Yes. That's quite rare.
And then we get on the shippity ship, and my horrible reality when all the robots start taking over everything, and I'm terrified from this point on in the movie. And
yeah, but Mo.
But Mo comes in.
But
Mo comes.
Such a silly bitch.
And I love Mo so much. And every time Mo is on screen, I laugh so hard because he's so funny. Love Mo. Mo. I was trying to understand all of their little cute names and like what their names, like what made their names funny. Mo, like, that's his MO? Like,
I don't know.
That's his MO? Is that why his name is Mo? His MO is that he cleans up all the stuff?
I don't think so.
I don't know.
Because, like, the cosmetic robot is PRT, like pretty.
Cute.
And then there's Vacuum, which was the vacuum one that sneezes. Mm-hmm. The massage bot is Hans, HAN-S. Gopher was GO-4. That was the guy that was up in the bridge.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Van Gogh, or VN-GO, is the painting robot, the one that puts the paint down.
That's my favorite bot.
Right.
By the way.
And then I wrote down those are the only ones I wrote down. But I was writing them down as I saw them so that I could have them for later. But so I think MO, like, what's your MO?
Yeah, that could be.
I don't know.
I don't know what else it would be,
so.
though.
I think that's kind of a stretch.
What else would it be then?
I don't know.
Like he like mows the ground. He's like a lawnmower, kind of like mows the floor. He mows.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe.
His name's stupid. How about that? It's just cute and Mo. They could have named him something better that made more of a pun of sense, I guess.
I don't know.
Yeah.
The M could be like for like maid or something like that.
Maybe. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever.
Whatever. But anyway, I like the sequence, seeing the sequence of the robots coming out, what they all do. Put Eve in the thing, them checking everything, and like the guy coming and like scanning everybody and like scanning Wally, and then being like, what? And like coming back and being like, what? And I think it's funny.
Yeah.
I like seeing the robots starting
all the robots
like,
doing their jobs.
Doing their jobs and like slowly realizing that they can think for themselves too.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just funny to me.
Yeah. I like the moment when he teaches the little
Oh my God.
bot.
The typing robot?
The typing robot to flick his
He's
wrist.
kind of like, I can do that?
Right? It's so funny.
Yeah. And then when it comes out, he's like...
How much...
And I love that the typing robot is like dead inside like so many like movie secretaries
is
are.
exactly what I wrote down too. I was like, I love the dead inside secretary bot.
Yeah. Did you guys notice the Sigourney Weaver of it all?
Yeah, Sigourney Weaver's the mother.
Huh?
It's an Aliens reference.
Oh. I thought it's because she's in Finding Dory as the voiceover. Mm-hmm. And she's also in this movie as the voiceover.
She's the computer. So. She's the voiceover on the computer.
Oh, okay.
For the whole thing.
Yeah, she's like when you see it, like when they show the whole axiom and it like shows like, oh, the axiom, welcome to the most luxurious, like that's Sigourney Weaver.
Cute.
So.
Apparently when they asked her to be the voice of that, they were like, are you sure you're okay with being the mother now? Because you're the mother on the ship. Because in Alien, it's like...
Right.
I don't know. I only have seen Aliens once, so I only kind of get the joke. Anyway.
Yeah, we just watched Alien together earlier this year, or last year.
It was really weird.
So, it was good. I'm excited to watch Aliens. I like that
the second one?
Yeah.
Cool.
And then there's
Any
Alien
whoosies.
versus Predator.
I've seen Predator.
I like Alien versus Predator.
I've never
the
seen
first
Predator. I've never seen a Predator movie.
I've
Oh
seen
Alien.
You've never
my
seen
God.
Get to the Chopper before?
Nikki even likes that movie.
I even like that movie. Only because I can say, get to the chopper!
Can you say it?
I mean, French Arnold is my best impression. I don't know. So, I meant to mention when we see the bot highway for the first time, like when Eve gets taken out, how much the hallway with all the robots everywhere looks like Star Wars. Like the hallway looks like a very Star Wars-y, like on the Death Star.
It does.
To me, I don't know.
Does it?
It doesn't do it for you? I think Jess sees it.
You can see it.
I think that it looks very Star Wars-y. Like, I feel like it looks like the hallways and the ships on Star Wars.
Yeah.
And Thomas? No? Okay.
Maybe. I don't know. I didn't really pay attention to it that much.
What do you think of the lunch in a cup and the food in a cup stuff? It's lunch in a cup. Like, ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds gross. They probably don't really have much real food up there.
I wonder if it's all just the same slop and that everybody's just so zoned out that they don't even notice.
I bet everybody's just so zoned out. Nobody even knows what's going on anymore.
Like, it's not actually hamburger flavored. It's just...
Ugh.
Or, like, they don't even know what hamburgers
They
taste like
probably
anymore,
don't even know what anything really tastes like because they've never even had it before.
Yeah.
Right. It's all just probably oatmeal or something.
So if these chairs are also their beds, do they shower? Do they use the bathroom? Like,
good question.
What? Like, how are they doing?
Probably like a little like vacuum mechanism at the bottom of the chair for that. I don't know. Or the suits are I mean, their suits and their chairs seem pretty advanced.
It's insane.
So, it is insanity.
It's insane, but also, like, and when I saw this the first time, I even thought it. I was like, yeah, but this is totally where we're going if we don't fucking shape our shit up, people. Like, I could see it totally being something that everybody would do. If, like, couldn't you see, like, hey guys, there's this spaceship that's going up to space. We're just gonna have all these robots take care of all this trash right now. You guys want to get on the spaceship that goes up to space while they take care of this stuff? And there's like golf courses on here and pools, and you don't gotta really do anything the whole time. You want to go? Everybody would be like, yeah, of course, fuck yeah, let's go. I mean, come on, think about it.
Right.
Most people will be like, yeah, let's go. I personally, I mean, we'll get there, but.
I like that they put like all those things like golf courses and tracks and stuff like that, but then they also provided everybody with this little hover life raft, essentially. Like, this is where you're going to live on your chair.
I wonder if it was always like that, or if it turned into, like, I wonder at what point it turned into it becoming robots doing everything for them, and it becoming the hover chairs and stuff, and what point it was.
I get the impression that it started out like that, because in his video to, like, addressing, what would happen, if you found a plant, we're about to go back to Earth, and your body mass and, like, stuff may have changed, and then it showed the whole, like, the body getting fatter and fatter and fatter. Mm-hmm. But if you, turns around the track, we'll take care of that. So I feel like it's been in place from the beginning, and they knew that everybody was going to get fat, and it's almost... I feel like it's their way of keeping everybody in line.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I was going to say the commercial they showed the chairs, and they said that they were just for people with disabilities in the beginning.
Did they?
Yeah. Uh-huh. So I guess they apparently went from that just being just basically a wheelchair to everybody just living on one.
Huh. Interesting. Well, then
it was pretty bold of him to assume that everybody would have gotten fat, especially if they provided all those things.
But then, do you think that they always had all of those robots doing it? Because obviously the whole ship is run by robots, and there are no humans in the kitchen. There are no humans doing anything. The robots are creating everything, right? Like, There's no humans doing anything for them. So at what point did a bunch of robots start making all of those chairs for all the people? You know what I mean? Like, at what point did the robots start making, like, well, we need to make all these tracks for all the chairs for all the people? And you know what I mean? Like, I want a prequel to WALL-E. I want to know the before story even more than I ever have.
Yeah.
Oh, Eve stands for Extraterrestrial Vegetation Evaluator. They say that, though, in the movie. I don't know if you caught that or not.
Which is a weird name, because extraterrestrial means not on Earth.
Yeah, there was...
And if their whole thing is going back to Earth and looking for vegetation, then... that's a weird name.
There was one of the original parts in the script was going to be aliens was actually taking over the ship and was running the robots and stuff like that, and they ended up scrapping it. But that was going to be, like, the secret bad guy was going to be aliens taking over the robots and stuff like that.
And they just
so maybe they kept it as a little nod to that.
I think so. Yeah.
They could have just changed it to Earth Vegetation Evaluator, and it would have been the same.
Right.
So.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you know who the voices are of John and girl, whose name I can't remember right now? Mary? Do you recognize them? Either one of them?
I mean, I recognized his voice, but I couldn't place it.
John is Ham from Toy Story. And
that makes sense.
From Cheers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And Onward, which we've not done. Which we're doing next, by the way, guys. Hey.
Are we?
We're doing Onward. That's our next movie.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And Mary is Mary. Well, hello. Kathy and Jimmy.
No way.
Yeah.
Huh.
Cute.
Mm-hmm. And the captain is Jeff Garlin.
Boy, that sounds very familiar.
He's from the Goldbergs.
I was gonna say, I felt like I recognized his voice, but again, couldn't place it.
He's in Arrested Development. He plays Mort Myers in Arrested Development. He's on the show the whole time, playing the same guy.
Well, who plays Otto? I really like Otto's voice. I like the effects that they did to it.
Yeah. More importantly, is Alan Tudyk any of the voice?
He's not.
Wow, what a waste.
It's Macintalk.
What?
It's a computer.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh.
He is the person that does the voice in the movie Blank Check of the computer, which is the movie I keep saying we super need to do. Blank Check. God dang it.
Oh boy.
So anyway, we go to the bridge. We meet the captain.
Yep.
The clueless captain who doesn't know how to captain at all, who's just...
But his heart's in the right spot.
Heart's in the right spot, for sure, but...
He's basically just decoration.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And Eve doesn't have the plant because Gopher took it. Eve gets sent to the defective bot cage. room.
The maintenance room.
The maintenance room. And I super enjoy this whole entire this whole section of the movie. I like seeing all the defective robots in all their little cages and what's wrong with everybody. And I like seeing them all like defeated in their cages and just being like looking at Wally like, oh, what are you in for? And like, what's wrong with you?
Like the painting robot is.
I love the painting robot.
The painting robot is my favorite.
Yeah, he's just banging his head against the floor, basically.
Right.
I like the massage.
I forgot
robot
about
too,
him
though.
until the end sequence where they're trying to escape together.
Yeah.
And I can't remember what he does.
He's in the closet. He gets a trail led to him in the closet. That one?
There's something he does like while they're running. I can't remember what it is, but I was like, oh my god, I appreciate you so much.
Yeah.
He's cute.
And then we get the caution rogue robots thing, which
they take a picture of them,
I like their hostile rogue robots photo.
Both of them are very good. And that's when we see Gopher put the plant in the escape pod.
Yeah.
And Wally goes to get it, and then it gets ejected.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty space dance sequence.
Yeah, but I don't really understand how it gets out of it before it explodes, but I guess it's not that big a deal.
No.
I guess. But the fire... I do like speaking of space nerd stuff, the fire extinguisher...
Pew, 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 pew! More farm fat... Wait, no. Pew, 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 pew! More space facts with Thomas. You gotta do it too, Jess. Pew, 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 pew! Space facts with Thomas.
I like him using the fire extinguisher as a thruster.
Oh, that wasn't a fact. That was just stuff. Pew, pew, pew! Space stuff Thomas likes.
I also like that. I also like that when he was on Earth, he encountered a fire extinguisher.
Yeah, I like it. I like that it was a callback.
Yeah.
And it's very pretty.
It was very pretty. I like the dialogue throughout it, like with the captain asking what like dancing is.
Yeah.
And kind of talks to them. I thought that was really cute.
Yeah, but then we get to another thing that I don't really understand about the space physics.
Oh.
Okay.
Pew, 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 pew.
I don't understand why the engines are pulsing the way that they are.
What do you mean?
They're like, when they're flying past all the engines and they're all like turning off and on at like different intervals. That doesn't make sense to me because that's not how engines work.
It's to be pretty, Thomas.
And also, where are they going?
Where are they going, Thomas? That's a great question. And that was also in the nerd paragraphs that I found. That was a big, giant one. This like, where are they going? And why are they flying anywhere? Blah, blah, blah. They shouldn't be going anywhere.
Great.
Because a lot of times movies forget this. You don't need to have your engines on to move in space.
Yeah.
It's not like a car or an airplane where you have to have your engines on constantly. You turn the engine on.
It's just like a car.
You turn the engine on, get in the direction and the speed you want, and you turn the engine off and you keep going.
Pew, 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 pew.
Because
Space
physics.
facts with Thomas.
So because they had their engines on, they must be going somewhere. They must be changing, trying to do something. I don't know where they're trying to go. And after 700 years, if they had their engines on for 700 years, they should not be in the solar system anymore.
I think that they're not in the solar system anymore. And according to my very deep dive into Google, they're not in their solar system anymore. They're in the something other solar system, according to the internet. What solar system?
Yeah, I don't know, because don't they like hyper jump or something like that?
Oh yeah, they do hyper jump back.
It's supposed to be romantic, Thomas.
I like the massage robot when it beats up all of the steward robots. That's really funny.
All of the robots kicking all the steward robots' butts was Thomas, like, his chuckle laugh was worth watching the movie with him all around. When it, like, when it stands up and, like, does, like, the big punch and gets back down. Yeah. Was that the massage robot? Was that what that one was?
That's what the one is, like, the boxing is, like, the massage robot is the one that's, like, boxing.
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah, and then at the end, he's, like, out of breath, and then one of the steward robots shows up, and then he goes and smashes it. And then, that was funny.
So when Otto electrocutes Wally, and Eva shouts, like, no! And, like, squeals that little way, like, my little heart, like, oh! Like,
I know.
The way that she, like, squeals it. And she does it again, too, at the end when he's trying to, like...
When he gets smushed.
And she, like, crushes... Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was that moment was very sad, like, oh my god. And then the moment where after he's been shot and she's trying to get him, hold her hand and, like, interact with her, and he starts, like, dragging his sad little broken body across the floor to reach the plant.
Right.
That's like, I'm like, wow, that's very sad and also incredibly dramatic, and I appreciate it.
Right.
Yeah, I forgot a lot of the stuff at the end of the movie happened.
I forgot about the big, I forgot about the big Wallies crushing them at the end.
The Wallas.
I remember seeing them, but I don't remember them getting crushed by them.
They didn't. Or wait, yeah, they did.
I remember when they realize that they have to, like, shoot the ceiling so that they can escape.
Yeah.
And then as they're, like, taking off, the wall A's just kind of, like, wave their
I like at the wall A's are waving at them. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is fucking adorable.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but now Eve is on a mission to get Wally back to Earth so she can get spare parts for him, and she just destroys everything on the way back to the bridge.
Yeah. So, she's like, okay, well then we're going to Earth and we're doing it via plants. So let's fucking get this shit in gear.
Right.
Kill two birds with one stone.
Right.
And then all the bots come and help them.
Yeah.
Dirt bots assemble.
Yeah.
Avengers style.
Right.
And then we get another rogue robot picture taken.
Yeah.
We get back to Earth.
Really easily and quickly.
We get back to Earth, and then they take Wally back, and we get all new parts for Wally. And then I also forgot that there's a whole memory loss scene.
Yeah.
At the end of the movie. That's really sad.
But it's Disney. It's fine. It'll be fine.
Yeah, it's all fine.
It'll be fine.
Don't worry.
And
all she has to do is robot kiss him, and it's
fine. Kiss him. But it's still really sweet. And
robot kisses after bedtime prayer.
What? What was that?
Oh, butterfly kisses. You don't remember that song?
Okay. I know what you're singing now. I wasn't sure what you were singing, but now I'm following. I'm sorry. Quarantine. I don't even know. My brain doesn't know any references anymore.
Oh goodness.
Jenny used to sing that song, and she'd say, "My daddy's gonna sing this song to me on my wedding day. We're gonna dance to this song together," or something like that. That is not what they danced to on her wedding day, I'm pretty sure. Did they? I don't think they did. I don't remember what they danced to.
Cool story.
I hated that song. And I still don't like that song. I think it was really annoying.
I've been in the process of editing Harry Potter, and there have been so many stories that go nowhere.
That what? That go nowhere?
So many stories that, like, take, like, 15 minutes to tell, and then nobody has any conclusion.
No payoff. Yeah.
We just get to the end of the story, and we're like, I just realized that this is it.
Great.
No ending.
We're awesome.
And I'm like, okay, cut.
So glad I listened to that for 15 minutes. Awesome. Thanks, us. And so Wally comes back to life, and it's really sweet, and I kind of cry a little bit because Wally's adorable, and
I didn't cry on this watch, but I have in the past.
I didn't cry on this watch either, but I have in the past. I was also very tired, because I haven't slept lately.
Because we're always tired.
I haven't slept lately. This quarantine's got my brain all crazy.
Yeah.
That shit crack.
That was a great one.
So many moments where we just stop talking and realize that was nothing.
We're great.
It's one of my favorite parts of the movie is the ending credit. I think it's really awesome. It's kind of like the beginning of the movie where it's telling a story without using dialogue or anything like that. It's just visual and music, and that's it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really like how it kind of explains, maybe not in a scientifically satisfying way, But I like that it explains how they end up making it work back on the planet.
Do you think that they make it work on the planet?
I do.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
judging
forgot.
from the visuals, it looks like it's flourishing for them, so...
Yeah.
I like that we see in the pan away at the end that there's more plants, like there's more green, like just on like the next hill over, by the way, like before we get to the credits. Like,
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
You see like the ship land and they're like, we're gonna make pizza plants and blah 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
And then like the camera like pans back and like you sees like the next hill over is just like covered in green like plants and stuff.
Aw,
so
nice.
I like seeing that. Like, how do you think they figure it out? Do you think they just like use the computer on the Axiom to just help them figure
I think
it
they
out?
have to. They probably have to live on the Axiom for a little while.
Yeah,
but
that's
just
true.
Stay docked on Earth, yeah.
I was looking to see what I could find the theme of the movie. I found like a really good thing that said what the theme was earlier, but I can't find it now. Basically saying something about like love. Basically that the theme of the movie was actually love and how like love prevails over all regardless of something, but I can't find it.
I can see that.
Yeah.
That's like Wally's whole arc is falling in love with Eve.
Right.
And
I can't find it.
And then getting her to fall in love with him.
Yeah. It was basically something like Wally falls in love with Eve at first sight because Wally loves everything at first sight because he's a collector. And then Eve falls in love with Wally after she sees that he truly cares about her because she like watches the video of him caring about her, and that's how she falls in love with him or something like that, and shows that you can fall in love even as a robot. Because I wish I could find the sentence that explained. I'm like, oh, that's a really nice way to explain it. I should have freaking written it down, and I'm mad now. Oh well. All right. Well,
we'll find it and we'll make it the caption on our Instagram post or whatever.
Yes, that is exactly what we'll do.
Yeah.
Nikki.
Yeah. I'll find it. So our next week will be new in our PMSM.
How dare you say anything other than Pimsman? I'm offended.
Pimsman.
In our Pimsman series, everybody.
Yeah.
We are currently on our Pimsm. We're on the which is miscellaneous. And this week for miscellaneous, we brought you Wally. Next week, we're on the which is new.
Uh-huh.
And that new movie is Onward. So join us next week watching Onward by watching it on Disney Plus, because Disney Plus was quarantine nice by releasing it good and early for all of us to see it because they know we're all trapped at home.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And then
they had to monetize it somehow.
And then in a couple of weeks, we'll be on a princess movie. What that princess movie is, we don't know because we haven't discussed it as a team.
Your guess is as good as ours.
Maybe we'll start putting a story on Instagram and we'll ask you guys to vote what our next princess movie should be. I was also thinking we should make we should also ask a vote what our next series should be to the people.
Yep.
And we can put a caveat of if it's Twilight, we'll make Thomas read Twilight. Welcome to Social Media Corner with Nikki. You should follow us on social media. Hey Jess, do you have social media?
Yes, begrudgingly, I do have social media. Which social media do I use, you ask?
Yes, Jess. What
Pretty
social
much
media
only
do you use?
Instagram.
Only Instagram? Well, did you know that you can follow us on Instagram, Jess?
I can.
Yeah, at YPIP Podcast.
Podcast.
Wow, that's really cool. Hey, Thomas, do you use social media?
I do use social media, yes.
What social media do you like to use?
I like Twitter.
Any other social medias that you like to use?
And Facebook.
Wow, did you know that you can follow us on social media of Facebook and Twitter as well?
Both of those?
Both of those.
Where can I find you on both of those?
Both of them at YPIP Podcast.
Wow.
Wow.
Both of them.
And all three of them, you can find all three of them at YPIP Podcast?
Fascinating.
Fascinating.
No, that's too far.
Too far. Instagram, Facebook.
That is bananas, and I refuse.
Yes. You should follow us on all three of those. As you just heard, we will start sharing on our stories, and we will start asking you, our audience. I'm pointing to the microphone, but you can't see it, because this is not A visual medium. And I'm pointing to Jessica because to her, this is a visual medium because she's on webcam. And we're going to start asking you, our audience, what we should do next because we want to hear from you.
Yeah.
Our audience, please respond because we just want some interaction.
It'll be super awkward to have a poll up on our social media with no responses on it.
And you guys, we're really bored right now. It's the quarantine time, and we just want something to read. So follow us on Instagram.
And Twitter.
And Facebook.
At YPIP Podcast.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Guess what time it is, guys?
For Merkers?
Firmicers. All right. The first Firmicas. I'm going to take you 700 years before Wall-E.
Okay.
If you were given the choice, assuming that everybody didn't have to leave the planet, if you were given the choice, would you have gone on the Axiom, or would you have stayed on planet Earth and helped with Earth cleanup? If you were, allowed to stay and help the robots help.
Ooh. Boy, that's tough.
With literally no knowledge of what ends up happening on the Axiom, obviously. Thinking it is going to be a grand old vacation.
Right.
Right?
What, quality of life on Earth at that point would have been like? Like, how bad was it? Like,
I'm under the impression that it was... Right?
You know, really... Where there's been no living or even robotic things working for several hundred years, but what was it like when they first left?
Right.
Yeah. I think it would depend on the state of the Earth.
Mm-hmm.
Like if it was actually livable.
Right.
At all.
I mean, I assume that it was livable at some point. I assume it was still livable because they were still there.
I would be into living like a bunker lifestyle back on Earth. Yeah.
Thomas, you said you'd stay?
I think I would have stayed and helped.
Yeah?
Yeah. As much as I would like to go into space, I think that it would have been, I would have seen as the more important thing was to stay and help fix it so people in the future can live there.
Yeah. I also think I would have stayed. I am terrified and have literally zero interest in going into space at all. I think if somebody said to me right now, hey, I have this totally and completely 100% foolproof, safe way for you to planet travel into space right now. Do you want to go? I would say absolutely fucking not. I will stay here. Thank you.
I would say yes, please.
I would never, ever. I will never go into space. No fucking way. No.
Wow. So when Thomas gets a new job in space and wants to move your family...
Nope. Me and the girls will stay here. He can go into space and we will webcam forever and ever. Or divorce. And he can just pay me a settlement.
Then I can have a moon girlfriend.
And I can marry my wife.
This is what Jessica wanted all along anyway.
It is.
When the movie Gravity came out with Sandra Bullock, I didn't want to go see it in the movie theaters. I couldn't go. I was like, I can't go see that movie. That just seems like so much anxiety. Just no way. And what Thomas said to me was, do you remember?
For all the times you go into space? I don't remember. Is that what I said?
No, God.
Nikki, what did Thomas say that was so impactful that Thomas totally remembers it?
He's like, why do you have so much anxiety about going to see it? He goes, because you're going into space so soon or something like that. I was like, fuck you. All right. So we're all good people and we'd all stay on Earth. Good for all of us. All right.
I'm so happy. I'm proud of us.
So we're all good people. We stayed on Earth. And the Axiom said, you get to keep one of these service robots from the Axiom and they get to stay here with you. Which one of the service robots do you get to keep? I have 4 choices. I get to give you the choices. I have choices.
I don't need choices.
No, I have choices.
Okay, fine, go.
Would you like PRT, which is the cosmetic robot?
Are these functional robots or are they the glitching ones?
These are the functional ones, not the glitching ones. But I'm not going to lie to you. Some of them didn't look like they worked very well, even though... I don't know. Anyway.
Right.
The MO.
Uh-huh.
Hans, the massaging robot. or Van Gogh?
Definitely the massaging robot. Do you have any idea how badly I wish I could just have a back massage like 24 hours a day?
I also would probably choose Hans, but a part of me thinks Van Gogh would be kind of cool because I like to change up. I mean, could you imagine being like, I kind of would think I'd love to see what my living room would look like painted like this, but I don't really feel like
program what he paints,
right,
when and how.
Yeah, like that could be kind of cool too. But if I'm living in a bunker and I'm working really hard all day and I'm cleaning up the planet, like
exactly,
Hans.
And look, no human is willing to like massage my back and like really like dig into the knots for as long as I need them to. They give up after like 5 seconds, and I'm not about that life.
There's also vacuum, if you wanted some other choices, Thomas, and LT, which is the light bot, who's the guy that's like a halogen light.
I would do Mo.
You would do Mo?
Yeah. Mo or vacuum. Just so I don't have to clean my house.
Or, Thomas, one more, because you're going to be in the hot, hot sun all day, working in the hot, hot sun.
Oh my
the umbrella?
God.
Do you want the umbrella? You can have the umbrella bot, because you are prone to sunburn.
No, I would do one of the cleaning ones.
Okay, all right. Now, it is the future.
The future is now.
In the year 2000.
We have died.
Boo.
Great. Perfect.
We did not save the planet. No shocker there. And, however, because of the technology that has become what it is, we have turned into robots and we are on the Axiom.
Great.
What would you become if you were a robot? What kind of robot would you be? What would your service be as a robot?
The ones that exist.
No. Any kind of service. It doesn't have to be one from the movie.
I'd want to be Otto.
You think you'd be Otto. You think you're so great, you'd be Otto.
I mean, I'm pretty awesome, so.
You're Thomas.
I know, I'm the space fact guy.
I feel like Thomas would be the robot that was outside, like, calibrating stuff when they were out space dancing.
So I'm the Garrus Vicarian. I'm the Garrus Vicarian of robots.
The one that actually gets locked out.
Yeah. I would be an espresso maker robot.
Nice.
And I would be named Roaster.
Nice.
Like R-O-S-T and then just R.
Nice.
And I would also deliver sassy roasts to people.
I thought you were going to say that you spell people's names wrong on their
Also
cups.
that, yes. Yeah, I would absolutely do that too. But yeah, I would be the coffee bot.
Man, I hate that you're a barista sometimes because you take all the barista jokes because you're also allowed to be a coffee bot. I also want to barista my secret secondary career love that I had, which is baristaing, and I do miss that so much, and I also would love to do that. I feel like I'd clearly be something of a crafty something. Like, I would be a crafter bot. A face painting robot.
Oh.
Finally, your brand comes full circle.
Finally, a robot is actually doing the face painting.
Oh my God.
I feel like I would be like a robot that does like crafting and decor on the ship. I would be like doing something like that. But then again, none of the humans would give a fuck because they're not paying attention anyway. I wonder if I would be doing
Wally seemed to appreciate art a little bit, so maybe some of the other robots will be eventually sentient enough to appreciate it.
Either that, or maybe I would be like a crafty bot, like with like the kids, like in the kids' room. Like maybe I would be like with the kids' nursery, like being like the arts and crafty robot. I could do that.
Yeah.
And I'd be like waterproof and shit, so like the kids could spill this shit on me and I wouldn't be super bothered by it. Okay?
Yeah.
Waterproofing is important.
Right. Well, that was our episode then. I just wanted to make sure that you were listening to the very end when I asked you this fourth question, which was, are you still listening? Because I just wanted to remind you that in 2 weeks we'll be releasing the movie Onward. Yeah. And it's going to be my birthday in 2 weeks. So everybody make sure you say happy birthday to me because I love my birthday and I'll be trapped in quarantine. Thanks.
Yes.
13 days after it is Nikki's birthday, it'll be Thomas's birthday.
Yay.
Yay.
Hooray.
That's all.
Yeah.
That's
Wall-E is a movie about robots.
Wall-E.
Oh, we didn't do that like at all. I thought we'd do that way more. Eva. Eva. That's really hard to do. That's all.
Eva. Yeah.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
Thanks. We sound good from Jafar.
So, Jafar, we're in space this week. Whoa.
Whoa.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Okay, bye.